Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Redacted Report. I am your host.
That's a touchdown for Pittsburgh! An amazing play!
Coming to you from an undisclosed location. In today's story, we're going to talk about what I believe is the kickoff to the 2022 NFL season with the Pittsburgh Steelers' first preseason game tonight against Seattle. Now, basically, I'm just going to go through some things that I've noticed in my research and checking out highlights from training camp and what I think this could mean for this season as a whole. Sort of basically, this is my season preview. I wanted to wait, get a couple of weeks into camp, kind of get a grasp on things and just do some research. So I'm going to go ahead and just get right into it. Now, first off, let's just start with the offensive side of the ball. Of course, the biggest story coming in here is who's going to be the one to replace Hall of Famer Ben Roethlisberger, because, I'll say he's a Hall of Famer. Everybody knows he's going to the Hall of Fame, like him or not. Dude was arguably the greatest quarterback in Steelers history. I mean, you can also, obviously him and Bradshaw are the only ones in that discussion. And some people think it's Bradshaw, some people think it's Ben, but bottom line is both are all-time greats. And, of course, the hope is that, at least for me, I'll speak for myself, is Trubisky, I believe, is the best option going forward. No, I wasn't a big fan of the Kenny Pickett draft pick. I don't think Kenny Pickett is going to translate into a very good pro. Maybe he'll be a decent guy. Like I said, I think he's the Ryan Tannehill 2.0. And Ryan Tannehill, he's a good quarterback, not a great quarterback. He's not the kind of quarterback that can get a team over the hump, in my opinion. Of course, a lot of people can say the same thing about Mitchell Trubisky. Me, I have a lot of confidence. I think Trubisky is a lot better than people give him credit for, but we'll see. What a lot of people are shocked about, which I don't understand why, it seemed like the most consistent quarterback in training camp so far has been Mason Rudolph, and people are freaking out about this or whatever. I don't understand why, because you got to understand something. Mason Rudolph, this is his third year in Canada's system. He has more time in this system and more time throwing passes to a lot of these players and playing with these players than every other quarterback on the roster combined. Obviously, Pickett's a rookie. Trubisky has not played in this system before. So Rudolph has more experience in the system. So therefore, he's more consistent. But that doesn't mean that Rudolph is going to be the starter. That's just not happening. And a lot of people have him pegged being traded to the Jets after the Zach Wilson injury. I don't think we need to trade him at all because, personally, I think Rudolph is a very good backup. I don't think he's a starter, obviously. He's not. He's the worst starter of all the players, all the quarterbacks on our team. He's the worst starter. But as a backup, he's pretty decent. He's the kind of guy who can come in, and not necessarily win games, but if he had to play a game or two, he might be able to just, good enough to not lose the game for you. He can't be dependent on to win the games, but he could be good enough to not lose them. And I think he's a decent backup, so they may trade him if they get a good offer, but if they don't get anything better than a fourth-round pick offer, I wouldn't trade him. There's no need to. But for all you people freaking out that Rudolph has been the most consistent quarterback, just relax. That all of them have shown some flashes, and both on each side. And Trubisky's getting the start tonight, and I do believe Trubisky's going to be the starter going into the season. I think he's the best quarterback on the roster, and I'm just hoping that we don't have any issues with the locker room being divided over, one half being on Trubisky's side, the other half being on Pickett's side, but I just have a bad feeling that that's going to happen this year. But I'll get into what I think this is going to happen this season a little later, but the offensive line, they're still gelling. Obviously, we added 2 new people to the offensive line. We got Daniels and Cole. They're brought in. Cole came from Minnesota. He's going to be our center. Daniels came from Chicago. Both very solid. May not be the sexiest free agent moves, but really good free agent moves. And what I thought was an absolute amazing free agency period for Pittsburgh. Filled a lot of holes, and Daniels and Cole are great. Dotson is looking better. He still doesn't seem to be looking like the world beater that I thought he was going to be his rookie year. I just saw him as just a mauler, and I'm like, dude, this guy's going to be good for a long time. And hit that sophomore slump last year, but he looks way better than Kendrick Green. Kendrick Green, they need to realize that Kendrick Green is just a bad. He's not strong enough to be an NFL offensive lineman. He's just not. That was an Adrian Clem pick. Clem wanted him, and that's why they drafted him as an Adrian Clem project. And then Clem bailed to where I don't know where the hell did he go. Didn't he go to Oregon or something in midseason? He was a terrible offensive line coach. Kendrick Green is a terrible pick. Was a terrible pick. He was a waste of a third rounder. Wasted a lot of picks last year and this year. But Kendrick Green is not even good enough to be a backup, I don't think, in my opinion. He will be a backup this year, but he's not good enough to be a backup. And our best offensive lineman so far in camp has been Dan Moore. That's not surprising me at all. I love Dan Moore from the first time when we drafted him. I said, this dude is going to be special. I see a lot of old school John Jackson in him. And anyone who grew up watching the Steelers in the 90s like I did, John Jackson was a very solid tackle on a very good offensive line. And I really think that Dan Moore could be a John Jackson type or maybe even a little better. I'm not saying that he's going to be like Jonathan Ogden or Orlando Pace good, but I think Dan Moore is going to be very, very good. He's really improving. He's putting in the work. I think he's going to be special for a very long time. And the biggest question mark on that offensive line is obviously Chuks Okorafor. There's some potential there, but he's got to work on his consistency. Sometimes he looks like this dude can really handle himself there, and then other times like, dude, how did you even find your way to the stadium? So he's the biggest question mark in the offensive line for sure. Our tight ends, we're actually looking like pretty good deep tight end core. Obviously, Pat Freiermuth is the man, the star. If utilized properly, he could be like a faster, more athletic Travis Kelce. That's very good. And Gentry is proven to be a very solid backup and a good second option as a catching tight end, and his blocking has improved. Gentry he's impressed me. I like a guy like that who, was a fringe roster player for a while when he was drafted, and he's worked his ass off to become a pretty damn solid backup. A lot like a Matt Spaeth type, which I'm okay with that because Matt Spaeth, his contributions to the teams back in the day didn't show up on the stat sheets, but he was a very, very good, solid player on this team. So if he's anything like Matt Spaeth, he's like a Matt Spaeth with better hands, in my opinion, which I'm okay with that. And it looks like Connor Hayward, our Cam's brother, who I wasn't too crazy about that draft pick either. He's looking like he's going to be the third tight end. Like I said, I guess, we drafted Cam's brother. Let's make him happy. Move him to tight end so we can keep Derek Watt to keep TJ happy. I guess. I don't know. But if he can play well on special teams, maybe bringing in like a jumbo goal line package to move some people around. Okay, but I just thought we had more pressing needs than that in the draft. But hey. Our running back situation it's worrisome for me. We have really no clear backup. Obviously, Najee Harris is the workhorse, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love Najee Harris. He's a hell of a football player. He's tough. He's hard. Dude seeks out contact. He is just a bulldozer. But the way he plays, him staying healthy for an entire season is not exactly likely. Could it happen? Yes. I like him. I love how he plays. He's good out of the backfield, but that's like he's not going to have a very long career. I've said that before. I don't see him being more than maybe 5, 6, 7 years tops in the league with the way with the beating he takes. He's gonna wear down quick. So we have no real clear backup at running back. Benny Snell's kind of been dinged up here, and he's garbage anyway. I've said that since day one. Same thing with McFarland. He's trash. And we had Jeremy McNichols, who I thought would, be a decent, change of pace back and give Harris a little bit of rest to Harris, but that's not going to happen because he apparently hurt himself signing his contract, or whatever the hell happened. He signed and then he was on IR about 13 seconds later, so that doesn't help. We do have. I think one of our sleepers could be Jaylen Warren at running back because, like I said, he's going to get some touches tonight. I see a lot of touches for Jaylen Warren tonight, and I think he may be a strong possibility to make the roster and be the backup running back, because we have no backup running backs. Let's be honest here, we just don't. And our most talented group on this team, in my opinion, well, at least on the offense, you can argue that the linebacking core is pretty damn talented too. But we've got a lot of talent on that wide receiver core. But man, we have got a lot of issues with this wide receiver room. Let's start it now with my man Deontay the Drop Johnson. If you've seen my previous video about him and that his abysmal playoff game and his subsequent interview with Brooke Pryor that I touched on, you know what I think of him. I don't like him. He showed his true colors of what he's all about, just himself. And he proved that with his little hold in, and we gave him way more money than I think he's worth. I think that's going to end up being a mistake. Just like, I mean, he's not Antonio Brown like yet, but he seems like he could get that way, especially now that he has his money. And then we've got Chase Claypool, who is, I don't know, I haven't heard anything about him in the offseason or anything, but he was very immature last year. He's been very immature since the day he came in the league. I don't know if that's changed, because I don't know if there's any kind of leadership to kind of force that change from players or the coaching staff. And then we've got our draft pick, Pickens, who, he's been the best player on the offense in training camp, and he could be an absolute star. I mean, Pickens is, if he keeps his head on straight, he will be the runaway offensive rookie of the year, in my opinion. He is that good. But he's just got, he's got maturity issues. I mean, the dude had top 15 first round talent, but he fell because he's got maturity issues. And I've said it before, when we got him, is this the best locker room and wide receiver room for him to be in when he has maturity issues and some question marks like that? I don't know. We'll see. If he keeps his head on straight, that'd be a freaking steal. That would be like, not quite an Antonio Brown like steal, but still a guy with that kind of talent. Later on and not have to pay first round money to him, I'm all for it. And Calvin Austin, one of the more intriguing picks we made in this draft, he's showing a lot of speed and explosiveness, and he can work in the slot. He's also going to challenge Gunnar Olszewski for kick return duties. I think he's got a lot of speed, a lot of explosiveness, very elusive, that low center of gravity. It's going to be a hard guy to catch, especially in the slot. You try to match up a linebacker or a safety on him, he's going to burn your ass every time. He could be a nice little switchblade guy. We use him sort of like we used, or sort of like 49ers used Deebo Samuel. Now, before you curse me, I'm not saying he is Deebo Samuel-like. I'm just saying maybe use him, move him around, put him in different spots, put the ball in his hands, and give him the opportunity to make plays like the 49ers do with Deebo Samuel. That's all I'm trying to say, because I've mentioned this before, and people have just obliterated me for comparing him to Deebo Samuel, and I'm not. I'm just saying, let's see what he can do. So the offense has a lot of question marks, some question marks at every position. You know, who's going to be the quarterback? The maturity level of the wide receivers. Is there anyone worth a damn behind Najee at running back? I mean, the offensive line, you know, can they gel with the new players, and can the young players develop into what we hope they are? We don't know. The tight end position seems to be the most consistent and least worrisome position on the offense, for sure. Now, the defense has been playing pretty well in this preseason, and obviously they didn't play as well last year, so of course they're coming out there. They got a lot. They're not happy about this. They want to be better than they were. The run defense wasn't good. The injuries didn't help. And we got Alu off PUP, who I think Tyson Alu is a very underrated player. He was obviously, you saw what happened when he broke his ankle last year. Our defensive line kind of just fell apart. The run defense was bad. Our linebacker play was not good. So hopefully he stays healthy. And Carlos Davis, he's making strides as the defensive tackle. Larry Ogunjobi, will also help maybe in the middle with the rotation, so we don't have to keep Alualu on the field. We can keep the legs fresh. Cam Hayward, even at his age, is still Cam Hayward. He's a monster in there. Obviously, with the retirement of Stephen Tuitt, that left a hole there. His absence was felt last year as well, so we definitely need someone to step up in that role on the other side of Hayward. I'm hoping that Isaiah Loudermilk will step up and make some plays. Like I said, I thought that was a good sleeper pick last year for us as a project. A lot of people saw him as another Cam Hayward because he actually physically looks like Cam Hayward, but honestly, the way he plays and everything, I thought he was like another Brett Kiesel, which either way, that's a good thing. And I think that DeMarvin Leal has a chance to make a lot of plays on this defense. I mean, we've got some depth on the defensive line, a little more than we had last year, really, but there's some question marks. There's some young players who need to step up. So the defensive line, obviously, I think there's some question marks there, but I think that it's going to be better as long as we stay healthy with Alualu and Cam Hayward there and everything, and Ogunjobi and everybody just rotating, and the young players, continue to make strides. I think we'll be okay with that. The linebacking core, let's face it, TJ Watt is TJ Watt. He's the best edge rusher in the league, in my opinion, especially from the outside linebacker position. Free agent acquisition Miles Jack is looking like the Miles Jack of old, and I mean, he's still young. I didn't realize how young he was. That was actually very surprising to me when we signed him, and I did some research on him. I'm like, dude, he's only 26 years old. It felt like he's been in the league for like a decade, so he's still in his prime, and he's had some injury issues and things, but he's looking like a man on a mission, and that's awesome because he's going to be playing alongside Devin Bush, who has made some plays this training camp, but he hasn't really made the kind of impact I would hope he'd make coming off a dismal season last year where he quit on a lot of plays. I mean, I don't know what's left Devin Bush, and the fact that Robert Spillane is pushing him and nipping at his heels for playing time, I would not be shocked if Robert Spillane supplants Devin Bush on the depth chart sooner rather than later, because really the only thing that Bush does better than Spillane is cover the pass, and he didn't even do that very well last year. Like I said, Bush didn't do very well. I mean, I don't know if he didn't have his burst because of the injury. That's possible. Or a lot of times it looked like he just quit. He was playing scared and quit on plays because he didn't want to get hurt again. Making business decisions because he's got a contract situation coming up. That's what I saw. But I'm forever a pessimist. I kind of see more bad than good. That's just my cross to bear, I suppose. That's what I saw. So I think Spillane's having a good camp. The dude is a heck of a hitter, and with Miles Jack in there and his athleticism, Robert Spillane can kind of stay there and do what he does best, and that's stop the run, make plays, and get big hits. I love me some Robert Spillane. So I think he will probably supplant Devin Bush if he stays healthy. And then we got Highsmith. He seems to be motivated this year. I believe he was a big disappointment last year. I was hoping for a double-digit sack year from him based on what I saw his rookie year. You saw flashes of potential, but he just needs to get the consistency up. I'm not ready to give up on Highsmith yet. Like I said, I like to compare current players to former Steeler players so I can get across what I see more, and I see him as a young Chad Brown. If he's anything like Chad Brown was, he is a hell of a player, but he needs to take advantage of TJ Watt being on the other side because he's going to command all the attention on the edge. So Highsmith is going to have a lot of one-on-ones. He needs to start winning them and getting some pass rushing because that'll help our secondary, which is another big question mark on this team. Obviously, Minkah Fitzpatrick is the best defensive back we have and a top 5 safety and probably top 5 defensive back in the league. Maybe top 10 defensive back in the league. I will say that, but top 5 safety for sure. And last year he had to come up and play the run a lot. He led us in tackles with he had over 100 tackles. And a safety having over 100 tackles is usually not a good thing, especially one like Fitzgerald, who's more of an Ed Reed type of ball hawk, which we need him up back in coverage, basically playing center field and disrupting the passing game. And that can happen if we can have a better penetration from the defensive line, better run defense, and good pass rush from the edge rushers and from the defensive line. Just kind of disrupt some passing lanes and everything. So our secondary, which has some question marks outside of Fitzpatrick, can take a lot of pressure off of them. Because Fitzpatrick, if he doesn't have to play up and that safety linebacker hybrid type of thing that he had to play last year a little bit because of our run defense was so terrible. If he can play back and, like I say, play center field, he can cover a lot more. He can cover a lot of the middle of the field. So our two corners, Levi Wallace and Akil Witherspoon, only have to really cover from the hash mark to the sideline, and that just cuts a lot of the range that they have to cover out of the way and makes them a lot more effective in pass coverage. And Edmonds, I said that. I mean, I'm not surprised we re-signed him. He'd had no real interest from any other teams, I don't think. And we signed him for not that much money. As myself, like most fans, wanted us to sign Tyrann Mathieu, but I mean, we can't sign every free agent. I get it. Our general manager is Omar Khan, not Tony Khan, so he can't sign every free agent available. I got a nice little AEW jab in there. Boom. But the defense is obviously going to carry this team, which could be a detriment eventually, because I just think there could be a lot of potential for turmoil on this team and a lot of potential for implosion on this team. But I'll get to that in a second. Just get into the special teams. We got the Boswell extension. That's obvious. Paid him a hell of a lot of money because he is the best kicker in football. Him and Tucker are the two best. And he's going to be a Steeler for life, it seems. And Presley Harvin is still trash. He was trash last year, a waste of a draft pick. I don't know anyone who drafts anyone who drafts a punter should be fired. And hell, we've drafted 2 punters in the Mike Tomlin era, and both of them have been garbage. So whatever. I'm not the ones doing the draft picks, so I'll let the quote-unquote experts do their thing. And Olszewski, like I said, Olszewski and Austin are going to are kind of fighting out for the return man, and I wouldn't be surprised if they both do return duties, because a lot of teams they'll have a punt returner and a kickoff returner, unless you have someone like a Devin Hester type or something who does it all. But it wouldn't surprise me. I see Gunnar Olszewski returning punts and Calvin Austin returning kickoffs, and that could flip. But that's what I see right now, because I think both of them are special teams aces. They're going to be very good in the return game and also in the coverage game. And like I said, I mentioned a few sleepers like Jalen Warren at running back. There's also outside linebacker Tyree Johnson. I think he could be a guy, kind of a guy. We'll see. He's one of the dudes who could really, if he needs to make an impact tonight, but I think he has a shot to get there, because we always need that edge rusher depth, We don't have a whole lot of it. And you never know, he could surprise a guy. And also Jordan Tucker, offensive tackle, with the questions surrounding Chooks and everything. Who knows? He's a big guy. He can be a mauler. I mean, a big, strong dude. He has a shot to make this team, and he could potentially supplant Chooks at the other tackle opposite Dan Moore. That's possible. It's going to be an interesting season, I think. And I think after I said, if you watched my video before, I loved our free agent period. I thought we just nailed it across the board. And I thought the exact opposite of our draft. I thought our draft was, minus a few picks, was a total failure, in my opinion. We wasted a lot of picks, and we did not fill a lot of positions we needed. But I don't know. But I think that there could be a potential quarterback controversy that could bring this team down and divide the locker room. I think there's still maturity issues on this team that could just cause a lot of turmoil and a lot of infighting. And I would not be shocked. I honestly would not be shocked that Mike Tomlin loses this locker room and has his first losing season ever. I mean, it's going to happen eventually, and this would be the year where he has an excuse. Obviously, they lost their franchise quarterback, although he hasn't been a franchise quarterback. Ben hadn't been a franchise quarterback since, 2018? But it's going to happen. I think it could happen this year. I just don't know if this team can survive the turmoil that's this cauldron's bubbling, okay? And the lack of leadership and lack of discipline on this team, and yes, there's been a lack of both for a very long time. For the last 4 years, it's been right on our ass, just nipping at our heels, and that this could be the year it finally catches up to us. But we will see in time. I'm going to enjoy the game tonight. It's going to be good to check out the young players on the offensive defensive line especially. Maybe we'll find that complimentary running back to Najee Harris. But whether you're a starter or a fringe player, tonight it's nut-cutting time. You've only got 3 preseason games now, so you got to make them count. You got to make every snap count. This is the time is now. There is no tomorrow for some of you people. So you got to give it everything you've got. Don't quit. Don't give up. Just give it what you got. That's all you can do. That's the way I see it. I thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think I'm wrong or right, or what you agree with or disagree with. But again, I thank you for watching, and I hope you will join me next time on the Redacted Report. So long.